Today, in this session, we shall discuss the plot of the novel Man Eater of Malgudi. Man Eater of Malgudi is a noted novel written by a famous Indian English writer, short story writer, novelist, journalist, R K Narayan. The novel is known for a variety of its characters. Man Eater of Malgudi was primarily published in 1961. It's a post-independence novel written after India became independent. And Man Eater of Malgudi is mainly a social novel. R K Narayan wrote Gandhian novels like Waiting for Mahatma, Vendor of Sweets. But he also wrote social novels like The Guide, Man Eater of Malgudi. In that way, Man Eater of Malgudi, I will explain you later why Man Eater of Malgudi should be considered as a social novel. It deals with the evil and the good in the society, the conflict between the evil and the good and the bad. Society is a combination of all types of people. You have people who are very good, innocent, what William Blake writes in his famous poem, Songs of Innocence. The people who represent good character. On the other hand, you have evil in the society, the corrupt in the society, the mean and base in the society, which always trouble the good ones. So there is always a kind of a conflict between the good and the evil, which we even see in the famous epics like Mahabharata, the Kauravas and the Pandavas, the Ramayana, the virtue. The poetic justice is that finally the virtue should be rewarded. The good should be victorious over the evil. So that's the crux of the novel. Man Eater. The very title itself shows that there is a man eater. Man eater does not mean cannibals. Actually, there is a tribe called cannibals who are eating human flesh. But man eater here means troubling the man, not eating them literally, troubling. The period of the novel is naturally post-independence period because it is published in 1961. The novel describes various types of persons, good, bad, corrupt. And I told you about the setting of the novel. The setting of the novel is Malgudi. Malgudi is an imaginary South Indian town. And the timing of the novel, as I told you, post-independence Indian society, particularly South Indian society. Let me introduce you some characters here. There are certain characters. Again, the characters are divided in two groups. One good-hearted human beings, the other evil. And obviously, the good-hearted human being is Natraj here. Natraj is the owner of a printing press. The printing press is located on Market Road in Malgudi. He's a very pious man. In other words, he's like a Gandhi. In fact, the person who follows certain principles in life, the person who never wants to harm anybody, always hardworking. He has some ancestral property. He has a house, he has a press. and he is doing his duty. With him, he has certain friends, particularly. The press is not a very big one like the modern printing press. He has friends. Shastri was there. Shastri is not only a printer or what you call, it's an old press actually. He is editor, printer, binder, friend, philosopher. So we don't have a concept of a master and labor relationship or master and servant relationship. They were like friends actually. Some of the age, sometimes Shastri was guiding Natraj in many respects. Sen was another character, and Sen is a journalist. They used to visit, and there is a kind of outer wing in the press. The inner wing contains printing press. There is a curtain, and in the outer wing, Natraj and these 2-3 people were sitting and talking about society. There was a poet also, and his name is not given here. He's a poet who is writing about Radha Kalyana, Radha Krishna Kalyana, and he was writing a poem in monosyllabic words. Monosyllabic, you understand, run, tin, ban, can, monosyllabic words. So he used only monosyllabic words in writing the verse. So he was planning to celebrate the completion of this poem by organizing one big ceremony. That is the poet. Vasu is there. Vasu is a 6 feet tall giant man. He enters Malgudi. When Vasu comes, everything is disturbed. As long as Vasu is not in Malgudi, Malgudi is peaceful, happy. But Vasu's entry is a turning point. What we see in every drama, the conflict begins. Jivisha says, no conflict, no drama. The twist in the story is the entry of Vasu. Who is Vasu? I tell you, is a taxidermist. Taxidermist in Kannada, ಚರ್ಮ ಹದ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳ ಚರ್ಮದ ಜೊತೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ. He is a man who used to sell the leather, he used to sell the animal hides. He is a postgraduate. He was a postgraduate in economics. He was. But education is nothing in case of Vasu, because all educated people are not cultured. That's one of the examples you can see in case of Vasu. Muttu is a tea seller in Mempi Hills actually. He has a small shop. I'll tell you how Muttu is helpful. And Rangi is a female character, of course. She's a temple dancer. She's also a prostitute. In other words, temple dancers, we know what kind of. So naturally, other than this, there are many other characters. Of course, I am not explaining each and everything. There is the adjournment lawyer. There is inspector. R K Narayan presents before us variety of characters. So what is the story? Places in Malgudi, Market Road, Mempi Hills, and Sharayu River. These are some of the important places we come to know. So Natraj, Shastri, Sen, poet, Vasu, Muttu, Rangi. I tell you the story in brief. We shall discuss chapter wise summary in the later classes. Natraj was running a printing press, and he was happy. Of course, there were people, many types of customers, good customers, bad customers. Sometimes people used to pay regularly. Sometimes people like adjournment lawyer. They never paid money. R K Narayan speaks about the problems of printing industry. But he was happy, contented. He was not at loss. Shastri was helping him. Natraj has a son, has family. No doubt he had some ancestral property in the other road, behind Market Road. Sen and Poet were giving him a nice company. Always they used to come and sit and have a chat with him. That's how everything was going fine. They used to discuss so many things. But Vasu comes. Vasu enters Malgudi in search of a vocation. It's a very dominating figure actually. He had a degree in Madras College. He had been to Junagadh. He was a wrestler for some time. Even he hit his own master and came back. Vasu had a hoary history. Vasu is not civilized. He was educated. He is not civilized. Susamskritalam. This is the evil character. He comes to Malgudi. So as a taxidermist, he came in search of a place to stay in. He considers Natraj's place suitable for him. There was an attic in Natraj's press. Attic ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂಥರ ಅಟ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅಟ್ಟ. ಆ ಪ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಅಟ್ಟ ಇತ್ತು. There was some attic in his place. And he saw that, and without permission of Natraj, he got it cleaned and he began to stay in attic. It was so forceful, very strong, dominating, and ruthless fellow. Natraj was a very sambhait, a kind of a very soft-hearted man. He was, very much disappointed with the behavior of Vasu. Vasu began to stay in Natraj's house, Natraj's press. He did so many bad things actually. Natraj tolerated everything. One day he took Natraj to Mempi Hills in his jeep. He was driving the jeep in reckless way, as if the jeep is going to make accident, only to trouble Natraj. He took him to Mempi Hills and he dropped him there, and he did not pick him back. He left him in the foothills of Mempi. Natraj has no money to come back in the bus. So Muttu was selling tea there. Muttu gave him bun, tea, and he asked the conductor to take him to Malgudi. This is the trouble Natraj experienced because of Vasu. One more problem happens. Vasu was bringing some women to attic. Some women, including Rangi, used to visit him. Natraj is a very pious fellow. He's a Gandhi-like. He never liked this kind of bad habits. But Vasu used to bring some girls, prostitutes. Girls were coming and going, and Natraj was helplessly watching them. That was the condition. But how to? He asked Vasu to vacate the house, but Vasu went to rent controller and complained against him. And even rent controller troubled Vasu. This is what we see the corrupt officials in the society in post-independent India. So nobody, even he was actually poaching the tigers, poaching leopards, poaching animals. He complained to forest officer, but even for forest officer, he had twisted the hand of inspector. He was so ruthless. Vasu was so ruthless. So nobody was stopping him. He was keeping a gun and everything. So that's what to do. How to get rid of Vasu? One day, one more dangerous thing happened. Vasu wanted to kill temple elephant. Temple elephant, because temple elephant was used for jatra, because the poet completed his poem Radha Krishna Kalyana, and they were celebrating the festival. On that day, they are using temple elephant, and Vasu wanted to kill this during the jatra procession. Natraj was totally shocked by the news. He loved temple elephant in such a way that they were all actually working. Whenever the temple elephant was sick, they used to work very hard, get the doctor and get it, to the good health. But Vasu's decision to kill the temple elephant made Natraj very sad. Natraj even is a good man. He even went to the extent of killing Vasu. He went up to him. He wanted to kill him, but somehow something in him stopped Natraj. Because Shastri said, don't kill this man. He will kill himself. He said, he gave example of Bhasmasura. Bhasmasura, in Puran, Bhasmasura had to kill himself. He's an evil man. He put his hand on his own head and died. So Natraj was trembling and he came down again. The next day, they were very much, tense, unhappy, because next day there is a procession. But there was a news Rangi brought. Vasu is dead. Vasu, how Vasu is dead? He was strong-fisted fellow. So there was a police investigation whether someone has killed Vasu. There was a suspect. Natraj is also one of the suspects. But finally, Rangi gave answer to the police that Natraj killed himself. Natraj had a very strong fist, and there was some mosquito on his head. And in the sleep, he hit his own head in such a way that it killed him instantly. So he hit himself. It is a hit wicket, self-hit wicket like in cricket, So Natraj, there was no one necessary to kill Vasu. Like Bhasmasura, he killed himself. So with this, Natraj, Shastri, Sen, the poet, they were all happy that the evil is gone, and the procession took place and everything was, happy. And the novel comes to the happy close with the death of Vasu. who is a man eater of Malgudi. With this, the story comes to the close, and with the death of Vasu, we come to know that Malgudi is now normal. With this, I'm going to close this session. In the next session, we are going to discuss chapter-wise summary. Thank you.